Welcome back to Breslov campus. An amazing insight on the level of truth that a person can reach, specifically the truth about oneself. There was a Breslover Chassid about 150 years ago. His name was Rav Sender of Turovitsa. This man, before he came to Breslov, he was an absolute joker. He used to make jokes about everything and make fun and all types of things. He was the funny guy of the group. He was a businessman, an astute businessman. He sold fabrics, materials. He lived in this village called Turovitsa. He came close to Breslov. It changed his life, and he adapted towards the end of his life a custom in that he would travel every 2 weeks to not so far nearby Uman to pray by Rabbi Nachman's grave, and also to pick up from his wholesaler fabrics to sell. The wholesaler that supplied him the fabrics for his warehouse, for his store that he sold fabrics, it was located in Uman. So he would come with the wagon and horse, empty. He would go to the wholesaler, give him a paper with a list of all the fabrics and how much he would want, and he would say, okay, it'll be ready for you by tomorrow. And this Rav Sender, without even wasting a second, would quickly run to Rabbi Nachman's grave and spend a good 12 hours straight in prayer and Torah study by Rabbi Nachman's grave. Now, the extremity of his devotions was unbelievable. He was caught once at midnight. There was another man who came to daven by Rabbi Nachman's grave at midnight, Chatzot, which, by the way, is one of the best times to daven, is at midnight. That's when all the gates are opened in heaven. And this Breslover, his name was Rav Avraham ben Rav Nachman, he was on his way to Rabbi Nachman's grave, walking in the middle of the night, pitch black, quiet. He hears a man screaming, but not just screaming as if someone is about to kill him or he's being tortured or something like that. And this Avraham ben Nachman began to panic. He got worried. It's somebody screaming. He needs help. What can I do to help him? Or maybe he's being set upon by robbers or murderers. He had no idea what to picture. And as he was walking closer and closer to Rabbi Nachman's grave, he heard the sound of the man screaming getting louder and louder, till he understood it was coming from Rabbi Nachman's grave. He opened the door in what was back then a little shrine, a little room over Rabbi Nachman's grave, and he sees this Reb Sender, who had what's called Hadrat Panim. He was a very pleasant-looking man with a very honorable look, and honorable. He wasn't a poor man. He was a businessman, and he saw this Reb Sender lying, prostrating fully on Rabbi Nachman's grave, but screaming, with letting out all of his, like they say in Yiddish, his kishkas, pouring out his heart and screaming as if somebody was over him to kill him. So much that this Rav Sender feel what's called the pain of his sins. Rabbi Nachman talks about this, that a person should have the merit to feel the reality, the truth, and the severity of a person's situation, and to feel the pain of how it's really deadly and dangerous. Our person is really in a dangerous situation. This is what really pushes a person's heart to be opened up to cry to Hashem. The reason why most people don't cry to Hashem, why their heart is closed up, is because they don't realize the truth of their situation, how much they're in danger. But when a person is open to a glimpse of the real reality of the situation and how they really need a kindness and a miracle from Hashem to survive, so a person will automatically scream. And this was the case of this Rav Sender. He was mamash literally screaming as if somebody was about to kill him, and because he had his heart opened up to feel the severity of his situation, of his lackings, of his setbacks, of his situation, and how much divine intervention he needs in order to survive, in order to continue in life, in order to advance. This, Rabbi Nachman teaches, is one of the biggest gains that a person can get by traveling to Tzaddikim, and especially to traveling to the graves of true tzaddikim, is that your heart is opened up to begin to feel and see the reality of your situation, which is why traveling to tzaddikim, or by extension traveling to graves of tzaddikim, is something so powerful, so serious, so necessary in helping a person just to get out of his false imaginary existence and opening him up to awareness of a truer, real reality of himself, to wake him up in order to come back to Hashem.